You've been wondering if God has forgotten you, haven't you? Not in a way you'd ever say out loud, not in a way you'd admit to anyone else, maybe not even in a way you'd consciously admit to yourself most days, but in those quiet moments, when everyone else's life seems to be unfolding exactly on schedule, when marriages, breakthroughs, careers, healing, success, and joy seem to be landing effortlessly in other people's laps, and yours feels like it's been stuck on pause. Yeah, you've wondered. You've watched people receive the very things you prayed for. You've seen doors swing wide open for others, while you're still standing in front of the same door you've been knocking on for months, maybe years. And the exhaustion isn't just physical anymore. It's deeper than that. It's in your soul. It's in the way you pray now. Still faithful, still showing up, still believing, but quieter, less certain, less fire in your expectation. Because waiting doesn't just test your patience. Waiting tests your belief that you haven't been overlooked. Waiting tests your confidence that God still sees you. Waiting tests whether you still believe your story matters when nothing seems to be moving. And what you're about to understand is about to shift everything. Not just how you see this season, but how you see every season that led you here. Because God isn't making you wait to test your endurance. He's making you wait to increase your capacity. And there's a massive difference between those two. Testing your endurance means He's watching to see if you'll quit. Increasing your capacity means He's preparing you to hold something your current version couldn't carry, something your former mindset couldn't manage, something your old patterns would have destroyed. You think you've been waiting for a blessing, but the truth is, the blessing has been waiting for you to become someone who won't waste it, someone who won't shrink back into old habits the moment life finally gets good, someone who won't self-sabotage when things finally start working out. Someone who won't give it all back because they never learned how to steward what they prayed for. The waiting wasn't God ignoring you. It was sacred protection. Protection from receiving something you weren't ready to keep. Protection from becoming someone you prayed you'd never become. Protection from building a life that looked successful on the outside, but felt empty on the inside because you got there before you were ready to sustain it. And I know that's hard to hear when you're tired, when you've been faithful and it feels like faithfulness should have been enough by now. When you've done everything right, and your life still doesn't look anything like what you imagined. But stay with me, because what God is about to release in your life isn't just the thing you've been waiting for. It's going to be the thing you didn't even know to ask for. There's a principle at work here that most people miss. God doesn't give you what you want when your timing says it should happen. He gives you what you need when His timing says you're ready to multiply it. Every person who received the blessing before you, they're not your competition. They're your proof. Proof that God keeps His promises. Proof that breakthrough is real. Proof that restoration happens. Proof that miracles still move. Proof that your turn exists. And when your turn comes, and it is coming, it's not going to look like theirs. It's going to look like compensation. Compensation for every night you cried yourself to sleep, wondering if it would ever happen. Compensation for every moment you chose faith when fear made more logical sense. Compensation for every time you stayed aligned with God's truth, even when it cost you relationships, comfort, approval, and the crowd. I know that feeling too. The wait has been long, and I'm not going to minimize that. I'm not going to spiritualize away your pain. I'm not going to pretend the delay hasn't been brutal, because it has. But hear this, the length of your wait is proportional to the magnitude of what's coming. Think about it. The longer the seed stays underground, the deeper the roots grow. The longer the preparation, the longer the blessing lasts. The deeper the process, the stronger the foundation. You haven't been forgotten. You've been invested in. God has been working behind scenes you can't see, arranging pieces you don't even know belong to the puzzle, aligning people, timing, resources, and opportunities in ways that will one day make you look back on this season and say, it had to happen exactly this way. Here's what's about to shift in your life. The door you've been knocking on, it's going to open. But not just that door. Every door connected to it is going to open simultaneously. You're not getting one opportunity. You're getting access to a path you couldn't have planned yourself. The relationship you've been praying for, it's not just coming together. It's coming together with a foundation strong enough to last. Because you spent this season becoming someone who knows their worth isn't determined by who chooses them. Someone who no longer begs for love, but attracts it. Someone who no longer fears being alone, but understand solitude shaped them into someone secure. The breakthrough you've been praying for. It's not just going to happen. It's going to happen in a way that turns your life into a testimony. Not just someone who received a blessing, but someone whose story gives other people permission to keep believing when everything in their life says give up. The provision you've been needing. It's not just going to show up. It's going to overflow. Overflow in a way that allows you to be a blessing to others, which is what you were created for all along. God isn't just going to meet your needs. He's going to exceed your expectations in ways that make you weep at His goodness, in ways that make you sit in silence because gratitude finally outweighs fear, in ways that make you realize how carefully He was orchestrating things while you thought nothing was happening. Because He's not a God who does just enough. He's a God who does immeasurably more than we ask or imagine. And when He moves in abundance, in overflow, in multiplication. You've been living in a season of subtraction, people leaving, doors closing, plans falling apart, dreams dying, certainty dissolving. But you're about to enter a season of addition, where God adds back everything that was taken, plus interest, where He restores what you lost, plus what you would have gained if you'd never lost it in the first place, where He gives you what you asked for, plus what your healed heart actually desires now that you've grown through the waiting. And here's the most beautiful part. When it finally happens, when the door opens, when the breakthrough arrives, when the prayer is answered in a way you couldn't have scripted, you're going to be able to receive it. Not the old you, not the version of you that would have celebrated for 5 minutes and then immediately started wondering when it would be taken away. Not the version of you that would have been grateful, but anxious, blessed, but bracing for loss, excited, but secretly afraid it wouldn't last, happy, but waiting for the other shoe to drop. No, not that version of you. This version of you. The version of you who has been built in the waiting. The version of you who learned how to worship in the wilderness instead of resenting it. The version of you who learned how to trust God when nothing made sense and nothing felt fair. The version of you who kept choosing faith even when feelings screamed otherwise. The version of you who stayed in integrity even when doing the right thing cost you comfort, approval, relationships, and momentum. The version of you who didn't harden, but healed. Who didn't quit, but grew. Who didn't shrink, but expanded. Who didn't numb, but felt. Who didn't run, but stayed present. Who didn't collapse, but surrendered and let God rebuild you from the inside out. This version of you is built for what's coming. You've been refined in the waiting, not punished, refined, not delayed, developed, not forgotten, fortified. You've been strengthened in the silence. When no one was clapping, when no one saw your effort, when no one noticed your obedience, when your prayers felt like they were echoing back to you instead of reaching heaven. You've been anchored in uncertainty, learning how to trust without clarity, learning how to walk without guarantees, learning how to believe without evidence, learning how to hope without timelines. You've been stretched beyond comfort, beyond convenience, beyond control, beyond the version of life you thought you needed to feel safe. And you've been stabilized through surrender, where you stopped demanding answers and started trusting God's character instead, where you stopped asking when and started asking, who am I becoming while I wait? And now you're about to see why. Because the blessing that's coming isn't just for you to enjoy, it's for you to steward, to protect, to respect, to manage wisely, to hold with gratitude instead of fear, to walk in with humility instead of pride, to maintain with discipline instead of desperation. It's for you to multiply, not just financially, but emotionally, relationally, spiritually, generationally. It's for you to use as living proof that God is real, that God is faithful, that God sees, that God remembers, that God restores, that God rewards endurance, that God honors obedience, that God finishes what He starts, even when the process feels endless. It's for you to use as evidence that God is worth trusting, not just when life is good, not just when prayers are answered quickly, not just when blessings come easily, but even when the journey gets long, even when the silence stretches, even when the waiting feels unbearable. Your waiting is about to become someone else's hope. Someone is going to hear your story and think, if God did it for them, maybe He can do it for me too. Your testimony is about to become someone else's permission to keep going. Someone is going to see your resilience and realize, I don't have to quit yet. I don't have to give up yet. I don't have to lose faith yet. Your breakthrough is about to become living evidence that God hasn't forgotten anyone who's still standing in faith. Not the loudest, not the most popular, not the most visible, not the most perfect, but the ones who stayed, the ones who trusted, the ones who prayed, the ones who waited, the ones who believed when everything in their life said they shouldn't. So be ready, not anxious, not stressed, not striving, not forcing, not chasing, not panicking, just ready. Ready to receive without suspicion, ready to believe without fear, ready to enjoy without guilt, ready to walk into blessings without bracing for loss, ready to say yes without immediately wondering when it will end, ready to trust that good things can finally stay, ready to step into a life that looks so different from what you've been living that you'll finally understand why the old one had to end, why certain doors had to close, why certain people had to leave, why certain prayers had to go unanswered, why certain dreams had to die, so better ones could live. Ready to look back on this season and say, thank you for making me wait. Thank you for protecting me from receiving it before I was ready. Thank you for loving me enough to prepare me, not just bless me. Thank you for shaping my character before changing my circumstances. Thank you for building my capacity before releasing my breakthrough. Right now, wherever you are, in your room, in your car, on your bed, at work, in the middle of exhaustion, in the middle of hope, in the middle of confusion, in the middle of faith, I want you to write this declaration in the comments. God is making up for my waiting. Don't just type it quickly and scroll past it. Pause. Breathe. Let the weight of those words settle into your chest. Let them sink into the tired parts of you, the wounded parts of you, the discouraged parts of you, the grieving parts of you, the doubting parts of you, the parts of you that have been quietly wondering, will this ever be my story? Because this is your story. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not forgotten. You're not overlooked. You're not delayed. You're being prepared. And right now, preparation is turning into manifestation. The waiting is ending. The restoration is beginning. The compensation is starting. The alignment is happening. The preparation is paying off. The silence is breaking. The doors are opening. The season is shifting. And when you write that declaration, you're not just speaking it over your own life. You're speaking it into the atmosphere. You're releasing faith into the room. You're strengthening someone else who needed to read it. You're reminding a stranger they're not alone. You're building a community of people who refuse to give up. People who choose belief over bitterness. People who choose trust over trauma. People who choose hope over history. People who choose faith over fear. People who stand together in expectation. So write it, declare it, speak it out loud, believe it, even if your feelings haven't caught up yet, and get ready for God to show you exactly what He's been preparing while you've been waiting. Not later, not someday, not eventually. Now, your turn is here.